Good evening. It is January 30th, and we are going to read, let me get it out here, Exodus 10:1 through 12:13, Matthew 20:1 through 28, Psalms 25:1 through 15, and Proverbs 6:6 through 11. So, like I try to do every night, we'll do the Lord's Prayer together. If you will, join in with me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. So let's get started. January 30th, Exodus 10:1 through 12:13. So, recap, Moses is trying to get the Pharaoh to release his people, and God has put plague upon plague upon plague on Pharaoh. The next morning, Moses prays, and the plagues go away, the frogs and the locusts and the famine, things like that. And now it's coming down to the brass tacks of Pharaoh's going to regret not letting his people go, Moses' people go. So Exodus 10:1 through 12:13. God said to Moses, "Go to Pharaoh. I've made him stubborn, him and his servants, so that I can force him to look at these signs, and so you'll be able to tell your children and grandchildren how I toyed with the Egyptians, like a cat with a mouse. You'll tell them the stories of the signs that I brought down on them, so that you'll know that I am God." Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said to him, "God, the God of the Hebrews, says, 'How long are you going to refuse to knuckle under? Release my people so that they can worship me. If you refuse to release my people, watch out. Tomorrow I'm bringing locusts into your country. They'll cover every square inch of ground. No one will be able to see the ground. They'll devour everything left over from the hailstorm, even the saplings out in the fields. They'll clear cut the trees, and they'll invade your house, filling the houses of your servants, filling every house in Egypt. Nobody will have ever seen anything like this, from the time your ancestors first set foot on this soil until today." Then he turned on his heel and left Pharaoh. Pharaoh's servant said to him, "How long are you going to let this man harass us? Let these people go and worship their God. Can't you see that Egypt is on its last legs?" So Moses and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh. He said to them, "Go ahead then, go worship your God, but who is exactly going with you?" Moses said, "We're taking young and old, sons and daughters, flocks and herds. This is our worship celebration of God." He said, I'd sooner send you off with God's blessings than let you go with your children. Look, you've you're up to no good. It's written all over your faces. No way. Just the men are going. Go ahead and worship God. That's what you want so badly." And then were thrown out to the Pharaoh's presence. And they were thrown out of the Pharaoh's presence. God said to Moses, "Stretch your hand over Egypt and signal the locust to cover the land of Egypt, devouring every blade of grass in the country, everything that hail didn't get." Moses stretched out his staff over the land of Egypt. God let loose an east wind, and it blew that day and night, morning and east wind. By morning, the east wind had brought in the locusts. The locusts covered the country of Egypt, settling over every square inch of Egypt. The place was thick with locusts. There never was an invasion of locusts like it in the past, and never will be again. The ground was completely covered black with locusts. They ate everything, every blade of grass, every piece of fruit, anything that the hail didn't. Nothing left but bare trees and bare fields, not a sign of green in the whole land of Egypt. Pharaoh had Moses and Aaron back in no time. He said, "I've sinned against your God and against you. Overlook my sin one more time. Pray to your God to get me out of this. Get death out of here." Moses left Pharaoh and prayed to God. God reversed the wind. A powerful west wind took the locusts and dumped them into the Red Sea. There wasn't a single locust left in the whole country of Egypt. But God made Pharaoh stubborn as ever. He still didn't release the Israelites. That boy ain't gonna learn. God said to Moses, "Stretch your hand to the skies. Let darkness descend upon the land of Egypt, a darkness so dark you can touch it." Moses stretched out his hand to the skies. Thick darkness descended on the land of Egypt. For 3 days, nobody could see anybody. For 3 days, no one could so much as move, except for the Israelites. They had light where they were living. Pharaoh called in Moses, "Go and worship God. Leave your flocks and herds behind, but go ahead and take your children." But Moses said, "You have to let us take our sacrificial animals and offerings with us so we can sacrifice them and worship to our God. Our livestock has to go with us, with not a hoof left behind. They are part of the worship of our God, and we don't know just what we'll be needing until we get there." But God kept Pharaoh stubborn as ever. He wouldn't agree to release them. Pharaoh said to Moses, "Get out of my sight and watch your step. I don't want to ever see you again. If I lay eyes on you again, you're dead." Moses said, "Have it your way. You won't see my face again." God says to Moses, "I'm going to hit the Pharaoh and Egypt one final time, and then he'll let you go. When he releases you, that will be the end of Egypt for you. He won't be able to get rid of you fast enough. So here's what you'll do. Tell the people to ask, each man from his neighborhood and each woman from her neighborhood, for things made of silver and gold." God saw to it that the Egyptians liked the people. God saw to it that the Egyptians liked the people. Also, Moses was greatly admired by the Egyptians, a respectful public figure among both Pharaoh's servants and the people at large. Then Moses confronted Pharaoh. God's message: "At midnight I will go through Egypt, and every firstborn child in Egypt will die, from the firstborn of the Pharaoh who sits on the throne to the firstborn of the slave girl working at her hand mill. Also the firstborn of animals. Widespread wailing will erupt all over the country. Lament such as has never been and never will be seen again. But against the Israelites, man, woman, and animal, there will be no so much a dog bark, so that you'll know that the God has made a clear distinction between Egypt and Israel. Then all of the servants of yours will grovel before me, begging me to leave. Leave, you and all the people who follow you, and I will most certainly leave." Moses, seething with anger, left Pharaoh. God said to Moses, "Pharaoh's not going to listen to a thing you say, so the signs of my presence and work are going to multiply in the land of Egypt." Moses and Aaron had performed all these signs in Pharaoh's presence, but God turned Pharaoh more stubborn than ever. Yet again, he refused to release the Israelites from his hand. God said to Moses and Aaron while still in Egypt, "This month is to be the first month of the year for you. Address the whole community of Israel. Tell them that on the 10th of this month, each man is to take a lamb for his family, one lamb to a house, and if the family is too small for a lamb, then share it with a close neighbor, depending on the number of persons involved. Be mindful of how much each person will eat. Your lamb must be a healthy male, 1 year old. You can select it from either the sheep or the goats. Keep it penned up until the 14th day of this month, and then slaughter it. The entire community of Israel will do this at dusk. Then take some of the blood and smear it on the 2 doorposts and the lintel of the houses in which you will eat. You are to eat the meal roasted in the fire that night, along with bread made without yeast, the unleavened bread, and bitter herbs. Don't eat any of it raw or boiled in water. Make sure it's roasted, the whole animal, head, legs, and innards. Don't leave any of it until morning. And if there are leftovers, burn them in the fire. And here is how you are to eat it. Be fully dressed with your sandals on and your stick in your hand. Eat in a hurry. It's the Passover to God. I will go through the land of Egypt on this night and strike down every firstborn in the land of Egypt, whether human or animal, and bring judgment on all the gods of Egypt. I am God. The blood will serve as a sign on the house where you live. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. No disaster will touch you when I strike the land of Egypt. It's not getting good in Egypt right now, folks. So the breakdown says God shows his absolute authority. Pharaoh hardens his heart. Plague after plague hits, and Egypt learns a hard truth. You can't negotiate with God's will. The final blow, the Passover, draws a clear line. Obedience brings protection. The blood on the doorposts becomes the difference between life and death. Salvation requires action, not agreement. So the story will get really, really good tomorrow. And then February 1st is probably, it's going to start getting really good here for the next probably 3 or 4 days. But tomorrow's going to be really good. Matthew 21 through 28. 21 through 28. God's kingdom is like an estate manager who went out early in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard. They agreed on a wage of $1 a day and went to work. Later, about 9 o'clock, the manager saw some of the other men hanging around the town square unemployed. He told them to go to work in his vineyard and he would pay them a fair wage. They went. He did the same thing at noon and again at 3 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, he went back and found still others standing around. He said, "Why are you standing around all day doing nothing?" They said, "Because no one has hired us." He told them to go to work in his vineyard. When the day's work was over, the owner of the vineyard instructed his foreman, "Call the workers in and pay them their wages. Start with the last hired and go on to the first." Those hired at 5 o'clock came up and were each given $1. When those who were hired when those who were hired first saw that, they assumed they would get far more, but they got the same, each of them $1. Taking the dollar, they groused angrily to the manager. "These last workers put in only 1 hour, easy hour, and you just made them equal to us, who slaved all day under the scorching sun." He replied to the one speaking for the rest, "Friend, I haven't I haven't been unfair. We agreed on the wage of $1, didn't we? So take it and go. I decided to give to the one who came last the same as you. Can't I do what I want with my own money? Are you going to get stingy because I'm generous?" Here it is again, the great reversal. Many of the first ending up last and the last first. Forgot about that story. Jesus, now well on the way up to Jerusalem, took the 12 off the side of the road and said, Listen to me carefully. We are on our way to Jerusalem. When we get there, the Son of Man will be betrayed to the religious leaders and scholars. They will sentence him to death. They will then hand him over to the Romans for mockery and torture and crucifixion. On the third day, he will be raised alive. It was about that time that the mother of Zebedee's brothers came with her two sons and knelt before Jesus with a request. "What do you want?" Jesus asked. She said, "Give your word that these two sons of mine will be awarded the highest places of honor in your kingdom, one on the right hand and one on the left hand." Jesus nodded. "You have no idea what you're asking." And he said to James and John, "Are you capable of drinking the cup that I'm about to drink?" They said, "Sure, why not?" Jesus said, "Come to think of it, you are going to drink my cup. But as to awarding places of honor, that's not my business. My Father is taking care of that." When the 10 others heard about this, they lost their tempers, thoroughly disgusted by the two brothers. So Jesus got them together to settle things down. He said, "You've observed how godless rulers throw their weight around, how quickly a little power goes to their heads. It's not going to be that way with you. Whoever wants to be great must become a servant." Wow. "Whoever wants to be first among you must be slave. That is what the Son of Man has done. He came to serve, not to be served, and then give away his life in exchange for many who are held hostage." Wow, that's deep. Matthew 21 through 28. God's kingdom doesn't run on human math. Grace isn't earned, it's given. Jesus flips the script. The last can be first, and greatness is found in serving, not status. He closes it strong. The Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve and give his life. Leadership equals sacrifice. Psalms 25, 1 through 15. It says, "My head is high, God held high. I'm looking to you, God. No hangdog sculling for me." Don't know what that means. "I've thrown it in my lot with you. You won't embarrass me, will you? Or let my enemies get the best of me. Don't embarrass any of us. Who went out on a limb for you? It's the traitors who should be humiliated. Show me how you work. God, school me in your ways. Take me by my hand. Lead me down the path of truth. You are my Savior, aren't you? Mark the milestones of your mercy and love and grace. Rebuild the ancient landmarks. Forget that I sowed wild oats. Mark me with your sign of love. Plan only the best for me, God. God is fair and just. He corrects and misdirects, sends them in the right direction. He gives the rejects his hand. He gives the rejects his hand. Okay. It's not how I would have said it. And leads them step by step. From now on, every road you travel will take you to God. Follow the covenant signs. Read the charted directions. Keep up your reputation, God, Forgive my bad life. It's been a very bad life. My question, what are God worshippers like? Your answer, arrows aimed at God's bullseye. They settle down in a promising place. Their kids inherit a prosperous farm. Good friendship is for good God friendship is for God worshippers. They are the ones he confides in. If I keep my eyes on God, I won't trip over my own feet. Ouch. That needs to be highlighted. If I keep my eyes on God, I won't trip over my own feet. Well, that's really deep. Okay, the breakdown for Psalms 25, 1 through 15. This is a prayer of surrender and trust. David asks God for guidance, forgiveness, and direction. The promise, God teaches the humble, guards those who fear him, and walks closely with those who trust him. Intimacy with God comes through humility. Lastly, we got Proverbs 6, 6 through 11. You lazy fool, look at an ant, watch it closely, let it teach you a thing or two. Nobody has to tell it what to do. All summer it stores up food. At harvest it stockpiles provisions. So how long are you going to laze around doing nothing? How long before you get out of bed, a nap here, a nap there, a day off here, a day off there? Sit back, take it easy. Do you know what's coming next? Just this? You can look forward to a dirt poor life. Poverty, your permanent house guest. So the breakdown of Proverbs 6 through 6:11 says a warning shot. Learn from the ant. Discipline today prevents desperation tomorrow. Laziness always sends a bill, and it shows up fast. Preparation is wisdom in motion. Wow, that's really strong. Let's read that again. Proverbs 6, 6 through 11, the breakdown is a warning shot. Learn from the ant. Discipline today prevents desperation tomorrow. Laziness always sends a bill, and it shows up fast. Preparation is wisdom in motion. Had a mentor, had someone tell me years ago, who said, you can play now or pay later, or you can pay now and play later. And it didn't really make sense until I got a little older. I loved playing sports, and I played ice hockey, and I golfed, and baseball, and all the things. And I played a lot, even into my 30s. And do I feel like I'm paying for it now? I do a little bit. So when you're young, you can pay the price, and you get to play a little bit when you get older, if you will. Just a little food for thought. So the big takeaway for today says, obey God, trust his timing, stay humble, serve others, and work while you can. That's how freedom, favor, and provision show up. Have a better than good day. And if no one told you today, I love you. You guys have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow, which that's still the 31st. So the new month starts Sunday. So one more night. Looking forward to tomorrow. The story's getting really good with Moses and Pharaoh. So we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.